And we're back here once again with another episode of the MSK show. And this is going to be episode 449. So I hope you guys had a great day. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your week that is ahead of you. And in this episode of the MSK show, we are going to be doing something different and special tonight. So this is a format that I've seen one of my other favorite content creators do, and I thought I would try it out with more, nerd related stuff. Now, as you guys know, I am not a nerd like you. I am a Giga Chad, charismatic, tall, rich guy, obviously, But tonight we were supposed to have Verbal Riot on, but he told me like a few hours in advance he couldn't be on the show because he had something work related come up. So he'll most likely be on next week. So next week I can make the jokes to him saying, hey, you're a black guy that left me. So it all kind of makes sense in the grand scheme of things. So the format tonight
just hits again.
Don't put your daddy issues on Verbal Riot. I like him. He's a nice guy. I enjoy his content. So
he's got some good stuff.
So leave that man alone. Intros, we're gonna do what we're gonna do tonight, which is essentially it's a format called good point, bad point, insert whatever topic you want to cover as the overarching theme. So essentially, myself and the people that are on came up with one good point and one bad point. And people would ask, well, why can't you just have all bad points? Well, that would be you guys because you're all a bunch of morons. You would say, why didn't you bring up any of the good stuff? Yeah, I don't want to have someone say that. So that's why essentially the format is you have some good. So you offer the good perspective that you saw something good. So like, quick example, let's say you watched a bad movie. There's going to be something in there that you liked. One of your favorite songs played on a good scene, anything, obviously. So you balance out good and bad. It's really simple, guys. Don't overcomplicate it. It's what a genius like me would come up with. So we're going to go over, good points all first, then bad points. So you guys are all negative. No, we're going to cover all the good stuff. So that way you guys who suck off the MCU and get on your knees for Kevin Feige, you can do that. And don't worry, I'll do my pleasure at jerking Kevin Feige off for you guys. I'm not. That's really gay, actually. So intros really quickly. So yeah, Bob, he's back to his normal setup. He probably bought a computer.
Thank God. When I finally got my desktop back, I was practically throwing a party. I was getting tired of using my laptop to do everything because it was my work laptop, so I'm very limited as to what I can do on it. And so it was nice to be able to get back to my full setup and just in time to put out a review of The Bride. Gosh, that was rough.
You actually wasted money.
I went to go see it. Well, okay, so I used a free ticket, so that at least made me feel a little bit better. And then I ended up taking my 18-year-old son, so I bought a ticket for him because he had nothing to do. And I was like, all right, well, why don't you come with me? And both of us sitting through the movie were just like, I mean, it was bad.
I saw a trailer for it when I watched Mercy.
The trailer's better than the movie.
It was?
The trailer is better than the movie.
Because that trailer was horrible.
I didn't think the trailer was horrible. I actually thought the trailer looked kind of cool with it, like this Bonnie and Clyde type thing. And really, that's only a small aspect of the movie because it's like Maggie Gyllenhaal just had a ton of plot ideas and she just threw them all out there, seeing what would stick. And then she loaded it up with a bunch of feminism agenda but the thing is it didn't actually do anything to help the movie is the thing. It was like, I don't mind if you infuse messaging into stuff as long as you still tell a good, entertaining story. This had nothing to do with the story.
Dude, I'm being completely honest here. I could have got the feeling from watching the trailer out, and that's why they put out trailers, guys, so you can see if you want to go and support something. I saw the trailer and then I went, no. Fuck that.
Yeah, the trailer is much better than
no. Yeah, Bob is really being nice here. That trailer.
I'm serious. When I saw the trailer, maybe I was kind of hyped up because I had already seen Frankenstein, the Guillermo del Toro's one, which I really liked that movie.
I thought that was going to be a sequel to that. That's what I initially thought.
Well, this is again 1930s. It seemed like it was a Bonnie and Clyde. I'm like, okay, this seems like it might be something different. This might be kind of cool. Yeah, it was awful.
Okay. Joe, how was your week, man?
It's been long. Working a lot. Got some overtime. Just been tired. Today was my birthday, so anybody wants to send me money, I'm cool with that.
I was gonna say
Yeah.
that. Oh,
Yeah,
but
yesterday
hey,
my
ruining
muffler
it, Joe.
my car, and that was nice. So I was coming back from church and stopped at the store, and on the way home, I heard a loud bah, and my muffler broke. So it didn't fall off technically, just the pipe that leads in the muffler rusted out and cracked off, and that's going to be about $1,000 bill because we got to replace a whole bunch of junk. So that's good.
Gotta love vehicles, right?
Well, just whatever. But I had a birthday. It was kind of cool. Went out, ate too much at a Mexican restaurant, and other than that, though, things are pretty good. Can't complain.
But yes, it is Joe's birthday. He is now 51. So
Nope, 59.
21.
Well, I know I look at like my early 20s, maybe mid 20s, but yes, I am old. So that's how I
Dude,
fit
I've
old
been-
man
I've
Joe.
been 25 since I hit 25. And every
Well,
year, how old are you? 25?
Mentally, I think I'm about 14. Physically, I feel like I'm 125. And financially, I feel like a kid who earns money at a lemonade stand. That's how my bank account reflects. So, I'm just kind of all over the place. But I haven't seen any good movies lately. Oh, I watch a few things on TV, but I haven't gone to the movies. There's not much in the theater right now I want to watch. Project Hail Mary is next. That's one I really
Yeah,
looking
that
forward to.
one I'm looking forward to. I think that one's
Yeah.
going to be really cool.
I checked out a few of Bob's videos on his channel.
Thanks, man.
Was it good? Yeah, I liked them. And I watched a couple of your chats with Dad's turn to talk.
Yeah,
So,
that
gotta
was a
check
little
out his
project
stuff.
that started just amongst the three of us that is just kind of it's finally beginning to get a little bit of traction. So
I
we're
noticed
excited about
Derek
that.
looks a lot like me. I saw that.
Yes, he
Wait,
does.
you guys got your own Joe on the show. Like, what's going on? He looks just like me. I was like, oh my God. I said, when did I appear on the show? And then I heard him talk. We have totally different voices. But yeah. It's pretty cool. Go check out Bob's channel. He's got good stuff
Thanks, man.
as well as MSK. He's got a lot of fun, entertaining interviews on his channel.
What? Joe's lying. He hates me. But no, I was gonna say happy birthday to Joe. He's 60. He's 59. Not old yet.
Yeah, well, I feel that way.
I don't consider someone really old until they're like retirement age. Like 65, that's actually, in my opinion, old. I don't think 50 is old at all, really. I think that's just middle age. Like, whatever happened to just being middle age? Like, middle age is like your 40s and 50s. Like, 60 is like you're actually old. 60 years to live is fucking a long ass time.
Well, at 59, I don't think I'm going to live to be 18. So I'm past middle age.
Hey, man, Mary Jane Pittman lived to like, 109? You could actually seriously be like 95 doing this.
She took care of herself, and obviously I don't. So that's not good. But, if you say you're only old when you retire, then I'm going to be old till you never be old until I die, because I just looked at my bank and I got to dole out another $1,000 for that stupid car. So retirement's not looking great right now for me.
Good Lord.
I'm going to probably die on your show at episode like 2097. I'm going to be here bitching about something, and I'm going to don't over.
Hey, Michael said that big donation was going to send to me on Ko-fi. Just send it to Joe.
Yes, there you go.
There you go. Yeah,
but you did. The first time I was on your show with Bob, you said you're going to pay me $25 million a year. I'm still waiting for that.
Oh, is that what I said?
Yeah. No, I mean, dude, that's why now I'm always afraid of those things happening. Like, and keep in mind, I don't have a life where that stuff really ever happens as much as it used to. Anytime I get paid, I always just save up money. And I know that people do save money, but people understand you can save a bunch of money, but big bills like that will just eat it away. Like, just anytime they happen,
It's funny, my tax return hit my bank account Friday. That's all going to the repair shop. That's all right, though. I got the money to pay it. My car's still running. I don't have a car payment. Insurance is pretty low because it's an old car.
And you also live in Detroit.
Well, I live in Washington, which is north of Detroit. I used to live in Detroit, but Detroit's insurance, woo.
Washington is really blue. That might be bluer than here, which is saying something.
Not actually. Washington State, Washington Township in Michigan.
Okay.
That's where I live. And
I forgot you and Michael live in the same state. Yeah, Michael lives in Michigan too. The 3 Great Lakes. Good Lord.
There's 5 Great Lakes.
Oh, okay. He pulled a nerd on me. He pulled it actually. Oh,
and I'll give you a tip on how you can remember all the 5 Great Lakes. They spell out homes: Huron, Ontario, Michigan, Erie, and Superior. So I'll always remember now. My grandma told me that when I was about 6 years old, and I never forgot.
Joe, do you really think I remember stuff? I'm old. I actually don't even remember what I even did this morning. I woke up and I was like, wow, I'm alive.
MSK, you wouldn't be able to remember that anyway. It doesn't matter.
Where are you yelling
being
at
old
me?
has nothing to do with it.
I think he might have been dropped on his head as a kid or something. I don't know. Maybe that was it. I don't know.
Man, no one needs to know how bad my knees are. Good Lord. I literally just ran.
Please clip that. Please clip that.
No homo. Okay. No homo for any of that stuff. Good. No, actually, I have a limit now. Per PayPal Pay in 4, I have a max now. So nothing more than like 4 or 5. So I pay them off and then I just do like 5 more. So that is my limit. That's fine. And I've had it for a while like that, but I try to really get stuff on sale, but when new stuff comes out, it like calls to me. It's like, you must have me kind of thing. It's like, in Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, it's like when Norman's helmet would just talk to him. You kind of speak to him. Speak to me.
Comic books. Or it's like in Lord of the Rings, my precious.
Wait until PayPal. Nope. We're not doing PayPal. Dude, it's crazy, dude. Actually, speaking of PayPal Pay in 4, before we get to the show, really quickly, apparently now for OnlyFans, they're going to allow PayPal Pay in 4. I'm not kidding. Like,
they're going to what?
Yeah, so essentially, those payment processors like Klarma and those other ones like Shop or whatever, one of them got to deal with like OnlyFans, so they're going to do like a Pay in 4 option. Like, what? Pay in 4 for all? You guys are down bad. You guys are losers. Actually, oh my, I hate men. I don't like women either, but dudes are the worst. You guys are fucking, I can't do it. We're already crashing out. The show barely started. If you need to PayPal Pay in 4 to support online whores, your mom failed at raising you. I'm just saying, you're an actual loser. Oh, God.
Maybe I should do OnlyFans. We can make some money.
Oh, Joe, let's see what's too crazy here. I know if I tried one, I'd be filthy rich, but
I mean, I'm not saying it. It'd be modest. It'd be something
here's
tasteful.
Here's the one thing I like about this show. It makes my show look respectable.
I threw respect out of the way when I figured out that people actually.
It makes us on Dad Start to Talk look professional.
I can't be a part of that show, Bob. I don't have a dad. It basically excludes me. Bob is not for all inclusivity. He was like, no, you have to be a dad. You have to have had sex to be on my show. I can't have that. That is gross. Good Lord.
Wait, Bob's not really inclusive because he won't let me on the show because I'm not a dad. So he's
right.
Just,
he's gatekeeping us. That's all he is.
I know. He's just
How do you explain our female guests?
Well, I once had a few dogs, a hamster, something like that. I killed a couple of goldfish as a kid because I fed them too much once and it killed like 3 goldfish in my tank. My dad's like, "You gave him too much food."
All right, last one. When are Drek, Josh, and Bob going to be on one show here? What?
Oh, we were talking about doing our own show last time. We're ditching you. I don't know. It's kind of a thing. That was gaining some momentum last time. I don't remember that. So.
What is it, like the military? Don't ask, don't tell. Like, what the fuck? Good Lord. All right. Okay. So we're going to start off with Bob, and then we'll do Joe, and then we'll be me. Obviously, the best is last. Top G, obviously. All right. So we're going to start off right now. I was just waiting until these freaking police cars. Man, black people are always doing crime, dude. Oh, my God.
One of these days, we're going to see that door behind you get kicked open.
Yeah.
Dude, literally last Saturday, this disgusting animal, black, oh my God, words I can't say on YouTube, tried pressing me. I literally said this to his face. I said, I know your dirty, stinky monkey ass is not talking to me. And he was like, what? And I just kept walking. I didn't do anything. I just walked outside. Dude, man, deport all blacks. I'm at this point now. Get them all.
Dude, that's harsh, man.
Okay. So just the ghetto ones. You can keep me. A girl. This never happened. Okay. All right. So,
or like she broke out of his house.
She must have been high. I think she was. Dude, she was black. I wasn't gonna do anything with that chick. Oh God, good Lord. Okay. We're gonna start off with. Okay, so just to reassess people. For anyone who's watching. Was a no. We're doing good point, bad point for the MCU. Maybe next week, if Verbal Right doesn't show, we do like the DCU or whatever. So Bob is going to go with one good point. Then Joe has a good point. Then I'll do my good point. And then we'll do the bad one. So And we're not doing that many. Usually the format technically is 2 each, but we don't have that much time tonight. We only have like an hour and some change, so I got to kind of go through this. All right, Bob, what is your good point about the MCU post Endgame?
Well, I think at the end of the day, the MCU still has a lot of good potential with its stories and characters. I mean, there's still a lot of good stories you can tell here. There's also a lot of good characters that you can actually build off of. And like a good example, I mean, you still got Daredevil, you still got Thor, you still got um uh, the Incredible Hulk, you still got I mean there's a ton that you still have here. I mean, technically they didn't kill off Captain America. I mean, and then with the multiverse, there's still things that you can do. You still got Spider-Man. I mean, there's a lot of different things that they can do with the MCU. It's just a question of using those characters properly. And so the potential is there. And I think that they tried to build off of some of their lesser known characters, which I don't have a problem with. Like, I think if it had been done properly, we would see a lot of good stories there because again, I think there's some fairly interesting characters here. I also like the use of what they did with Spider-Man with Spider-Man No Way Home. I really like that movie. I liked the conclusion of the Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy. So I thought that was a good conclusion of the story. Um, I think what they were trying to do story wise with Thor: Love and Thunder could have been good in with a better director because I liked Christian Bale in that particular role as the villain in that story. Again, there's characters here and potential that they could take somewhere interesting. The Falcon and Winter Soldier should have been a fantastic show because there's good chemistry between those two actors and the characters. We like to see them together, so I think that should have been a runaway hit. So again, there's a lot here that you can actually build off of. It's just a question of doing it right, but the pieces are there.
Yeah, so for me, I was almost gonna have that same one too, because a lot of people who've never like actually consumed a good amount of Marvel comics at all, or even know what the actual classic bangers were. I'll just give a one that's an example of what a lot of people wanted Secret Invasion to be. So when they announced at that 2020 Investor Day event they had that was like all online because we were just all in our houses because Wong Ching Chong decided to fuck with us actually. So it was announced that Secret Invasion would be a TV show. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, wait a minute, you mean the Brian Michael Bendis written event where it had them basically thinking that everyone was out to get each other because you didn't know who was a scroller? That's going to be a TV show? That needs to be like a full-scale big event movie, actually. Why are we wasting Secret Invasion on a show? And then come to find out what they actually did with it, you just squandered all of that right there. And people need to understand, there are only like certain amount of chances you get at telling these things, otherwise you're going to fail at it. Use an example, the Phoenix Saga, for with like X-Men, they've already tried it twice. You try that a third time again, the audience is going to be pretty tired of that. They're going to be like, why are you doing this Phoenix Saga again? But that actual Phoenix Saga is actually pretty good when you actually, read about what really happens when like Chris Claremont was writing his run on X-Men. So I think there's still a lot of great potential stories out there for Marvel, for the MCU to take from their comic books. But the problem now that comes into it is, well, is it going to be loosely inspired or is it going to be actually based off of? Because that's what happened with like the Flash movie. The Flash movie was actually supposed to be based off Flashpoint, but then it changed to like it's loosely based off it. So you're just taking like the pure concepts. If you're going to actually utilize the potential of where the MCU could go, then most of these stories have to be utilized to their fullest potential. So like we're going to get Secret Wars coming up. Is it actually going to be utilizing what Secret Wars was in its first iterations? Or are we going to get some weird fucked up version of Secret Wars where it doesn't even resemble even what the books are even about? You have to have some basis of where you're going with these stories. I know people bring up Civil War a lot. Well, Civil War works because the people that were writing it, not one-to-one comic-wise by what Mark Miller did, but they did keep the idea of what the essence of the story was. Keep in mind,
right?
I've always told people this. You can have both approaches, but the other approach you take, if you're not following the source material, which I recommend you should, because why would you be basing a comic book movie out, not the source material, but different story for the day, right? You have to have the idea of that story intact. The idea of story intact between Civil War, it's Iron Man and Captain America fighting each other over different ideas about how the government should kind of interfere with their operations, let's just say. That essence is ushered throughout the entire movie. Then you get the other stuff unlayered there. The problem with the MCU now is like, well, you use like the Gore the God Butcher story. Have you actually read what Jason Aaron did in that story? It's actually pretty good. I've summarized. I went through a lot of it. It's pretty fucking good. I was like, what the hell? What is that movie? It doesn't represent anything. Like, it's almost like someone's weird bastardized version of what they thought he was doing. Keep in mind, well, he is the guy that ushered in, Jane Foster as Thor. But before that, all the stuff before that was good. It's like the other potential story there. A big thing with the MCU that everyone always brought up was, why don't they do a Planet Hulk, like a Planet Hulk movie or a World Breaker Hulk movie? Well, how would you feel if the leader of the Illuminati, which is Mr. Fantastic, getting punked out by Wanda? Oh, wait, that actually happened. They actually treated the smartest mind in the MCU next to like Professor X like a complete idiot, like an actual idiot. This is the guy in his own universe where they stopped the Thanos that didn't even snap. They were like so smart. They had like stopped a bunch of threats. This guy got waxed by another lady just because. This is also the same MCU where apparently Professor X's power is his mind, one of the strongest minds ever. Wanda can just infiltrate his mind and then make him kill himself? What are we doing? Wanda can infiltrate the most powerful mind and make him off himself. Like, what are we doing here? So that, and I agree. It's like, if we're going to be using potential great stories, they need to be utilized to their fullest potential. Not like, hey, this movie has Gore the God Butcher. Does he actually kill anyone or butcher? No, he just kind of like just does it off screen.
And just another example of potential. I mean, look at what they did with Deadpool and Wolverine, putting Wolverine in his classic costume. I mean, the audience, of course, goes nuts to see that. And you've got potential with the X-Men, and we're going to see some of that with them in their classic costumes with Doomsday. I mean, it's right there. It's a slam dunk. Just put the X-Men in their classic costumes and give them a movie. There you go. That's potential right there. And that'll make money.
All right. Joe, did you want to say anything about Bob's point?
Well, Bob, you're right about the story thing. There's a lot of potential there, but when you were going on how they mess things up, Blade, they came out, they're going to trying to do another Blade movie for 1,000 years. And Kevin Feige said, well, we just can't put him in leather and have him kill vampires.
Really?
Yeah, that's the story.
Yes,
like, that's why his movies are popular and successful, because he's out there in a leather jacket killing vampires. So yeah, they need to.
It's not exactly apples to apples, but I think it's still kind of the same concept. I don't go to see Godzilla and Kong for the storyline. I go to see it to see the giant monsters fight each other.
Yep.
I'm not going to see Blade because I'm expecting an Academy Award winning story that touches on social issues or all this other stuff. I'm going to see Blade kill freaking vampires. That's what I'm going to see.
Another great potential story they just completely missed out on. Oh my goodness. It was shit. Out of all the characters that I could really go through, what was the one that really irked me? Fucking hell. I'm gonna have to think about it. But I will say, like, just the idea of a lot of them too. It's like, you could tell the idea was there. It's just there's no style on how to really pursue it. Like, okay, so if Marvel knows the Avengers make them a lot of money, wouldn't there be a concentrated effort into actually making more of those movies, right? Like in the comic books, you have Avenger runs and they do a lot of big things, right? If we're going to be at a universe that's this advanced, that's going to be what? When Doomsday comes out, we're going to be at like 40 movies, 41 maybe. We're like almost in the 40s, right? We should be at a point where we have a solidified Avengers team that can have their own movies here and there. So yeah, definitely wasted this potential with a lot of its good stories. Now, are there still good stories to tell? Absolutely. Are they going to do them good? Well, you gotta just go, I don't know. That's a big question mark there. Could they do it? Maybe. But if I see an X-Men, because we know that the guy who directed Thunderbolts is going to be directing X-Men. I see an X-Men movie where they're race swapping Cyclops and race swapping Beast. Well, red flag is already applied. Just to say that, because we know that that's their next pivot. It's going to be the Mutant Saga. I'm just going right. It's going to be called the Mutant Saga. Let's not kid ourselves here.
Oh yeah, they should too.
All right, Joe, what is your good point about the post Endgame MCU?
Well, I like that they tried different kind of stories. Like I really enjoyed Werewolf by Night. I thought it was a good concept. I really enjoyed WandaVision, how they decided to tell the story through sitcoms over the decades. And I thought that was a unique idea, and I thought they did that pretty well. I also enjoyed like the Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special. I thought that was, just good things they could put out that were good content that people can enjoy. And now the Eternals gets a bad rap. It wasn't the greatest movie. There's a lot of problems with it. But I like that idea because there were characters really nobody knew about. And their attempt was, and they said it, they wanted to diversify, had a lot of diversity. They wanted LGBTQ characters. They wanted more women. They wanted people of different colors. So that was, to me, a good idea to try with that team because there was a lot of them. And be honest, not many people knew much about those characters. So that was okay. And I think that was a good idea to try that with them. Now, the results of that weren't always the greatest, people say, and there were some issues with the movie. But again, they made an attempt. Um, Doing something like She-Hulk with breaking the fourth wall, that was a different kind of story. Again, we can talk about results later when we get to the bad, but it was some outside the box thinking, and they did that with a few things. And I thought the one movie is escaping my brain, or one character. Oh, Moon Knight. They brought him in, who was kind of Marvel's Batman when they had him, and I read his early comics and whatnot, and they tried to do something a little different again. They dealt with some of the multiple personalities, and they try to dig into that. And again, we'll get to the results part later, but it was an attempt to do something a little different. Even Ironheart, which was critically bashed and nobody really watched, I kind of like the idea of getting another younger person in there who could kind of grow as a character, and I thought it was a good idea. Now, again, we'll get an execution a little later on my bad points, but I like the idea of where they try things. Now, maybe some of the reasons they tried were, well, we want to just have more female characters, or we want to just have more diverse characters. That's an okay reason. It's not bad in and of itself, but you also got to take those ideas and make them good. But I think the idea of doing things, like I said, Agatha Harkness was a different kind of storytelling, and they did that. It was witchcraft, a little spooky. They threw a musical number in there, which I thought went on a little long, but I actually didn't mind the song. But they played it during Halloween, which, it kind of suited that time of the year. So they did try things. And I can't fault them for trying. And again, we get to the bed, we're going to talk some execution. But I did enjoy that about it. And because it's one thing I that bugged me about Marvel is a lot of times things got cookie cutter. A lot of movies are like that, but you had to have the Marvel humor. You had to have villains that are almost, kind of a carbon copy of the superhero, that kind of thing. And then you always have to introduce other characters that are going to be in another show or movie, so it was very, and then they just started throwing a lot of fetch quests in these movies too. And that's just not Marvel. That's a lot of movies. So like Star Wars became fetch quest central. So, but they did try a few different things. And that's, I guess what I'm saying is that's what I really thought they did well post Endgame. I don't know if you guys have any thoughts on that yourselves, but that was like a point that I'll give them credit for.
I will say this, because I know a lot of people know I bashed that as an idea to leverage some good to it. It does take a level of, you do have to have that thing of, how about I say it though? Because you guys watch sports, you guys know what I'm going to say in terms of sports. You know how like for some sports teams or organizations, you have this one player that brings you all the success, and then at some point that person retires or they go to another team, and then you try someone else out new, and it goes either good or bad. But the thing is, you should try that out in life. It's a good concept to have in life, because not just the MCU. You should try out new things. It actually broadens your horizons to try out new things. The big problem the MCU ran into, they tried out too many new things. They didn't just take it one step at a time. They tried out too many new things. But I will leverage some good. They did it. They took a complete big swing at trying out new stuff. Now, did all of it land? Well, that's debatable amongst people. Yeah. The batting average may have been less than 40%. It's probably in the tens. Actually, their 3-point average was probably less than 10%. But I do always like and respect the aspect of trying it. Because to be fair, you never know if it will work unless you do try it, though. But then there's this thing of like trying it, but then never going, okay, we tried it. Probably time to back off of this. No, they kept doubling down. That was their problem. Let's just keep doubling down on bad stuff. It's like, okay. It's like, on one hand, I can respect it because they did conquer like box office, you could say, right? They had a really big, nice leverage of people, and they went, you know what? Now it's time to start doing TV. Keep in mind, I'm going to understand superhero TV kind of now is ridiculed a lot more than it used to be. Guys, are you telling me the CW produced good TV shows for a little bit there before they went all downhill? Forget, Smallville ran for like 10 years, a TV show that is still talked about to this day. So is it the superhero TV show concept can't work, or is their way of doing it not working? I think believe
it's their way, because Superman and Lois, I mean, is a perfect example.
It came out like what, a few years ago? That was just
years
ago it came out. Yeah,
you already mentioned Smallville. I thought the first couple of seasons of Arrow were extremely good.
Yeah,
the first season of The Flash was just really
magic,
good.
Just beautiful. Yeah.
So it can work. You know, to kind of touch on what Joe said, that I do think that them taking some swings was kind of cool. An example of a swing they took was with Ms. Marvel. I mean, that was made to be, you know, for a younger audience, and I don't think it was that terrible. You mentioned Agatha. That was one where I didn't hate it, but I couldn't finish watching it because I wasn't really the audience for it. I got about halfway through it and I was like, okay, this is not bad, but I'm just not digging it per se. I got about halfway through it and I'm just like, it's not for me. But I don't fault them for trying it. And yeah, there were things that they tried that, like you said, MSK, you don't know if it's not going to work unless you actually try it.
Except instead of trying, they went a full 180 on that. I was like, all right. So my good point is, I will say this. And people know when I like some of this stuff, I will tell you what I enjoyed about it. I really enjoyed what they did with No Way Home, Deadpool and Wolverine to a certain extent. That'll be another thing. I will say No Way Home, Thunderbolts, and Fantastic Four. So I'll highlight it. So No Way Home does a really good job of bringing out a big character and kind of culminating a lot of things throughout Spider-Man's live action, you know, mythos, right? With Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, and it worked for them. A lot of people still like No Way Home. I've rewatched a good amount of it, still held up for me. It wasn't just one of those kind of moments you have in the theater and it just, you know, never went anywhere. I actually really enjoyed No Way Home. I thought what they did in it worked really well. Minus a few things I didn't like that they really messed up on, but otherwise, good movie overall. Thunderbolts, when I saw the trailers for it, I was like, you know what's crazy? I didn't get the same feeling from that trailer that I did from the Marvels. When I watched the Marvels trailer, I was like, nah, I think I'm just good on this. When I watched the Thunderbolts trailer, I went, this looks like something that they would put out in their prime. And we watched it, and most people here were like, you know what's crazy? Come on, this is how we know, you guys know we're being authentic with you. If it was bad, we would just say it's not good. No, I actually enjoyed the aspect and the atmosphere of that movie.
I like Thunderbolts.
It felt like it was something they did like some years ago. And I was like, wait a minute, you can still do this? Where's this been? Now, the problem with Thunderbolts is it comes out in a time now where the movie theater landscape is really not as lucrative as it once was. So it's going to fail box office wise. I even told people it was going to fail box office wise. I knew it was. That wasn't the point. What I meant in my talkings of Thunderbolts on these shows with most of you guys is if they can get into that, like, the reason why I called it Fast and Furious is it's a simple concept. So, like, yes, but what Bob said earlier about Godzilla vs. Kong, we don't watch those movies for plot, really. And if they have a bad plot, we'll just tell you they have a bad plot. But there is something about them that makes you watch them. You go, I really love being entertained by this. That's what Thunderbolts did. It made you entertained by what they were doing. And the story was pretty hit or miss here and there, but you could have that and still be entertained and like what you got. They need to get back. I think Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four are the perfect examples for movies that they need to be putting out consistently more. If you can consistently put out Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four, you're probably not going to make as much money as you used to be. These things don't make enough money like they used to. But I think you will build enough goodwill with people for them to go, you know what? I can maybe give this a chance again. Now,
Fantastic Four to me felt like it was a Phase 1 movie.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that because I honestly thought Phase 4 should have been more like Phase 1 because you weren't going to they jumped out of Endgame trying to make everything like it was in Phase 3 and those last two Avengers movies. You can't do that. You have to start over and rebuild. And I thought Fantastic Four would have been a great Phase 4 movie. It actually came out, of course, Phase 5, but I think it would have been a great Phase 4 movie as kind of restarting, reintroducing a new set of characters and building towards something new. I thought that was good. Thunderbolts, the same thing.
Well, yeah, I agree with you on that, but they should those would have been good phase, like a Phase 4 movie or reintroducing it as Phase 1. But with that, they also had to have a few tentpole like solo films. Like, in Phase 1, we had the Cap and the Thor and Iron Man. Well, if we, Fantastic Four is a team and so is Thunderbolts. But if you could have done a solid, good new Captain America movie and a solid, like Shang-Chi was okay, but the character itself wasn't that much of a main character kind of, so he was a main character in the movie, but he wasn't iconic. So if they could have pulled up another character, maybe even if they reintroduced Captain Marvel and not reintroduce, but kind of do another movie with her that was better than the Marvels that set her up individually, where she could have been maybe take over that Thor role as the powerhouse of the team, somebody who stands out. And then they find a third person in there to go along, maybe do a Yelena movie solo, hold her up and kind of where Black Widow should have gotten a solo movie a lot earlier, do something with her.
Yeah.
And then maybe she falls into that Cap role where she's more human grounded kind of character. But instead, like you said, Bob, we're just going to continue and make everything like Phase 3. But all the groundwork,
you got to start over.
All the groundwork they laid in 1 and 2 was really gone.
Yeah.
Doctor Strange would have been somebody good to be in the Trinity that you wanted to continue. But then they threw in, Multiverse of Madness, which, it's like, well, he's really not the star. It's American Chavez. And, they just fumbled that, so.
Another thing for me that I will point out that I did enjoy that they have done is it's not that they can't do certain things good anymore. And so also in my good point, I wanted to highlight two characters a lot of people have highlighted that people actually like. But I'll do my Deadpool and Wolverine to tie into my last point first. So Deadpool Wolverine as a concept, as we just saw, can work, right? So the MCU, or Kevin Feige specifically, has always kind of been against like rated R horror movies. Keep in mind, not like rated R horror movies, sorry. He's been pretty much against like rated R superhero movies. Now, that might be just because it's Disney. To be fair, I will give a completely fair shake on that. It might just be Disney. Because remember, Blade, he had said that it's going to be PG-13 and you're going to like it thing when it was announced at that Comic-Con where the Blade movie never happened, just like my dad in my life. But so it's one of those things where Iman Vellani is Miss Marvel. People like her. Wyatt Russell, who plays the discount
agent. Yeah.
People like him. He has had an amazing arc from Falcon and Winter Soldier to where he's at now. So it's not that they can't do these things. You understand these things, they're sprinkled. Well, they're like sprinkled. It's like a really tiny sprinkle. They're variously sprinkled throughout a lot of their movies and shows. They have it still, but for some reason, whoever they're hiring, a showrunner. That's a funny part. They didn't have showrunners with TV shows. That's a crazy concept. Whoever they're hiring is not able to bring it out like the previous people did back in the past. Now, could that be because of directors, showrunners? I don't know. But the fact that they still can make things that I can still somewhat enjoy is fine. Also, you can have the Deadpool and Wolverine approach. If it made you that much money, that can be something you can build off of, right? Deadpool Wolverine. If you can do this concept again, maybe it can work, right?
Yep.
Keep in mind, Deadpool's a character it can work for. Not like really like Thor. They tried it with Thor, but then they try to do it again. It's like the concept of Cocaine Bear as a movie works when you're kind of doing a fish out of water approach. But if you did a Cocaine Bear 2, it's not going to have the same approach because people know what they're going to expect at the same time. Bear. So like Ragnarok, people didn't expect that to happen. Kind of did because MCU fans actually called him boring. So they did Ragnarok again, thinking you were so stupid you were going to like it again. And it's like, no, it doesn't work again. What they should do is characters like that need to have that as their lane. But not every character should be that. So yeah, that's mostly my good point is movies like Thunderbolts, Fantastic Four, and I will say Deadpool Wolverine to some extent. That needs to be what you do. And you need to do that consistently, though. Because keep in mind, you can do one of these movies, but if you do like 8 bad ones, the 8 bad ones are weighing down your good ones. Like, yeah, people like Eamon Vellani as Miss Marvel, but she's in nothing that you enjoy. So her performance is like a highlight of it, but I'm not going to rewatch that ever again.
I feel so sorry for her because
she's trying.
She seems to genuinely like, being this character, and she genuinely likes the comics and genuinely likes the fans, and
she's great casting. I mean, she is, Miss Marvel. I mean, she looks like her, she acts like her. And like you said, she truly wants to do this. Like, she loves that character, and they haven't given her much to work with.
Yeah, I genuinely feel sorry.
Well, I did like her show a bit, but when we talk about her bad stuff, and I talk about how things went off the rails for him, that'll be one of my examples. But that could have been a much better. I think part of that was a good show as a family show, somebody getting their powers and discovering them, and it kind of took a left turn. But she should be considered one of the best casting. Unfortunately, she hasn't been in the good movies and the movies.
No, I think she's
her
a great
shows and movies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Great.
I actually really enjoyed the Sentry casting they did in Thunderbolts. That might be one of the best accurate, low-looking superheroes we ever saw when he actually came out looking like all
the yellow suit.
Pretty fucking good. Like, what? Also, wait a minute. Where's this Marvel been? The one that's been giving me Eternals. Jesus Christ! You just maybe they're just fucking blue balling us the whole time. No, we actually lowered our own standards so you could think we're shit. So when we surprise you with good shit, you can't believe it. Maybe that's the real kicker here. All right, Bob. Now we'll start with the more juicier stuff. Bob, what is your bad point about post Endgame MCU?
There's just way too much content that they've got coming out, and part of that, there's a couple of issues with that. One is that it becomes way too much homework in order to watch something else. Now, I don't care. Somebody like me, I'm going to go and watch it, but the average person is not going to watch it. Even if it's not really a lot to watch. It's the perspective. So, like, for example, a lot of these Marvel shows are 30 to 40 minutes long each episode, and they come out with 6 to 8 episodes. So you add it up, you're watching maybe 4 hours total. So it's not really a lot. Mm-hmm. But if you tell somebody you got to watch 8 episodes of something in order to understand the character for this particular movie, somebody's been like, I gotta watch 8 episodes for that. I'm not gonna do that, and so it becomes too much homework. And so, or like I said, it's a perspective thing. Also, I think you stretch yourself too thin when you do that, as far as your most talented people and stuff, when it comes to writers, directors, all of those things, because you've got this project going on in this one and this one and this one and this one, and it's just it's just so much. But again, you've got this character over here who's going to relate to this, but then because you're stretching yourself so thin, their product turns into crap, and yet they're going to be in something else that's important, and you're not going to check it out, or you might watch an episode or 2 of it. So I think it's just way too much content.
Also, a thing with the shows that I think the shows did a really bad number on their franchise. And I want people to understand, because you guys were in the same period that I was when we were doing this. Guys, I can't really say this full story because I'll get in trouble, but I'll kind of dance around it a little bit. Back in my prime, we were doing watch parties and we were waiting for these episodes to come out week to week. Okay. A lot of other people were too. We saw it in the ratings, right? These episodes would premiere 12 my time, 3 your time, or 1 CST, right? Now imagine doing that for like all the shows throughout the entire year when they first started 2021. Keep in mind how many shows there were. WandaVision, Falcon Winter Soldier, Loki, What If Season 1, then you had Hawkeye. Now keep in mind, they wanted Miss Marvel in 2021, but that got pushed back because of something with filming or whatever, which thank God they did. Holy crap, that's too much stuff, right? There's like 5 shows, and on top of the movies. And keep in mind, the movies weren't good, or they weren't really, they were just mid. They're just basically just either bad to mid. Then every single time we're watching these shows, week to week, these episodes were not good. Like, arguably, you would have like 1 good episode out of like 8. And keep in mind, you keep doing that to people out of 5 shows, I'm out. I checked out after She-Hulk because I'm not doing that. I'm not sitting there waiting for an episode. It's shitty. And then even when the show's over, all of us would go, that was pretty meh. I'm not doing that. I'd rather just binge it. I'd just rather just do that. What I'm getting at here is the show's dampened people's expectations of the MCU by never actually having any sort of good writing in it at all. It was really drawn out. The characterizations were really bad. It was boring most of the time. Most of the stuff just like they were just filler bustering to get to the final episode. And that's what they do. That's what they do in their comic books. They do that a lot in some of their books that have like 10 issues. They'll just start filler bustering in the middle half, and it's like, what the fuck is this? I'll give a good example of one. Oh my god, what if has like 3 good episodes? Actually, I think What If has has the best episodes of a lot of the shows, but that is drenched in a bunch of shit. People love the Doctor Strange episode. I like that one too.
That was actually a good episode.
I like the murder mystery episode before it. That one was really good. I enjoyed. Oh my goodness, there was a 2 other ones I did. Guys, it's a 9-episode show. I just told you about 3 I liked. That means the other 5 might not be that good. All of them have that. All of them have one good episode, and the rest are bad. Who remembers anything out of Hawkeye? Actually, in your brain, remember what's in Hawkeye? Fuck if I know. I mean,
I remember the overall story. I couldn't pick out an individual episode. I know.
Like, the only thing we talk about is how much Kingpin doesn't snap Kate Bishop's neck. Yeah. We're not even talking about Clint.
Which and they had the cosplayers,
the main character, right?
Or the LARPers.
Yeah. There was an episode, remember, like a dude just straight up knocked someone out to the dome with an iron bat. I was like, what is this?
See, I actually liked Hawkeye was the thing, too.
Well, I didn't think it was a bad show,
but I agree with you. It's not very memorable, it is the thing. Yeah, but when you compare it to a lot of the other MCU shows, I actually liked Hawkeye, and I actually didn't mind Kate Bishop either.
I thought she was. I liked her. I think she's obviously a great actress, and then
yes,
I like the character.
Nice talent, yeah.
but Hawkeye, because it's an overall arc. I remember the storyline, but if you ask me, well, what episode was it when they did the LARPing? I couldn't remember what episode was it.
I remember most of it.
They talked about the watch, and I was like, I don't know, but I remember they did.
Like I remember they had Echo in there. I remember. I remember the show. It's just one of those things where. Like, I feel like for a founding Avengers member like him, you should get memorable things out of it. Like, these shows just kind of felt like it got to a point we know they're bad because they didn't have showrunners. They believed they could just fix it in post. Then Bob Iger, I remember this quote. He was like, "Yeah, we should probably start telling stories the right way." What do you what? What? Are you implying this was bad? Remember, it was. I forgot what he said. It was like we have to focus on more quality than quantity. Hello. What? What are we going through? What? All right. I guess, you know what? At least if you could admit it, fine. Thank you, Bob. Thank you.
See, to your point,
that was actually their thing. That's their thing. It was fix it in post. Daredevil, Kevin Feige went into it and just discarded all of it in 4 episodes. Keep in mind, you might have got a worse product. I don't know what it was. But Kevin Feige went, this is actually shit. I need to go and actually fix this. No showrunners. They actually believe you can have a show without a showrunner. What? Who is telling people these things?
Well, it's Marvel turned into a system, and you just kind of fall into the system.
But that's why I go back to that. It was just way too much content. It was like putting it on a conveyor belt and just spitting it out.
But to that point, I think I think, well, to someone like me, like you, I watch everything, but I think it would have been better instead of, you can do extra content, but don't make it necessary. Because you look at the Thunderbolts and Captain America: Brave New World, you needed to watch Ant-Man and the Wasp, Black Widow, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Eternals. I'm probably missing some other ones that you'd have to, the Hulk from 30 years ago or whenever that movie came out. Plus something else, Thunderbolt Ross was in a few things that you probably would have been better off watching as well, like Civil War and whatnot, for what he was doing, so he get his, background on his character. And I'm probably missing somebody else. So especially like with John Walker in Thunderbolts, I went to see the movie with a friend of mine who didn't watch Captain America Falcon and the Winter Soldier. He had no idea who he was. He knew he was a knockoff kind of Cap. So before we were going into the movie, I kind of explained a few of the characters real quick, but he forgot all about Ghost because she was in a movie he watched once a long time ago and that wasn't too memorable, I guess. I mean, if we remember it. But yeah, I think too much content is bad when it's, like you said, it's homework. You got to watch so much stuff because the normies aren't going to watch it all. They
Yeah,
do. You go watch Thunderbolts and you're like, well, wait a minute. I didn't watch, maybe you didn't watch even Black Widow. And you're like, well, who's Taskmaster? Like, Yelena? I mean, I guess I saw her in Hawkeye, but what? So yeah, it does get muddled. So
yeah, the shows should have taken like an Agents of Shield approach, where they were kind of tied into the MCU, but not really tied into the MCU.
Yeah, or
you
like
don't
the
have to watch
Netflix
Agents of
shows.
Shield in order to know what's going on with the movies, or vice versa.
And they said when they put all that stuff on D Plus, they said you will not have to watch these to understand the movie. And if you didn't watch Falcon and the Winter Soldier, you didn't understand a lot of what was going on in Captain America: Brave New World, because you had, Isaiah Bradley, you had the new Falcon, you had John Walker, while he was over in Thunderbolts, but you missed so much because you didn't see that TV show. And I know a lot of people who didn't watch Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So they, when they went in to see Thunderbolts or Cap Brave New World, they're like, kind of didn't really know who these characters were.
Yep.
And if they're going to do that, they needed to do a better job of introducing them characters in the movie, to get a better explanation of, well, you're just a discount Captain America or whatever they called him. And you didn't really know much about like what he was doing and why he had that trauma and everything else. And that's where they dropped the ball on that.
Yeah, another thing that I didn't like with too much content is, well, you can have the shows, but this is too many though. Guys, just in 2021, WandaVision, Falcon Winter Soldier, Loki, What If, Hawkeye. Then you had the movies. So you had 5 shows and 4 movies. That's just 9 things. And what's crazy is all of them came out essentially all after Black Widow. It was like a succession of them all coming out, one after the other, one after the other, one after the other. That is just too much. That is just blatantly too much. Then 2022, same thing. Just what are we doing here?
Well, if it was pre-Endgame quality, we'd all be living high off the hog and I'd be excited. If you took all the pre-Endgame movies and put them out in a 2-year span, just one a month or whatever, it was 18, I believe. So you just run them, 18 months straight. I would have been in hog heaven. I probably would have I've probably been in the theater 2 times a week, just because the movies are so good. But when you start putting out quality, it's not that good. It's kind of like, well, okay, I'll watch it, but after getting burned 3 or 4 times, I'm starting to lose expectation here. So,
all right, Joe, what is your bad point?
My bad point is, as I said, like, I like the idea they looked outside the box, but I think the execution is where they fumbled it. Like the Eternals, I thought it was a good idea to do that show. If you want to do it, add some diversity, try to bring in 12 new characters. The problem was they brought in 12 new characters and there wasn't enough time. That should have been a streaming show. And the other thing is they tried to explain why the Eternals didn't get involved when like Thanos and all those other things, because they said, well, we can't get involved until a certain point. Well, that was stupid, because to get the Celestial to come out of the earth and grow and become a sentient being, they had to have so many people in the population. Well, Thanos was literally trying to get rid of half the population. That would have been a time for them to step up. They should have started that movie in space with the Celestials, get started, and you could have brought them to Earth in that show. And they do everything on green screen. So you're not even worried about set building at that point. And that's where they fumbled. Again, we talked about Miss Marvel. I thought it was a great idea. Bringing a new young character, more family oriented, more for teenagers, but even adults. As an older person, like myself, and I have nieces and nephews, and I can appreciate those stories. I thought it was a good start, but then what did they do? Here's the villains. We're going to blow up the earth. We're going to destroy everything. We're over here to take over. It's a end of the world threat again. Like, how many of those do we need? And it fumbled that ending. WandaVision. I really enjoyed WandaVision even up through the end, but I think where you end up losing it, it could have ended that so much better, but it ended up, what was it? A battle between 2 witches and a battle between 2 visions.
And Ralph Boner.
Yeah, humans, human against, or witch against witch, same powers, vision against vision, the same thing. And that's just the trope Marvel always does. Agatha Harkness. Thought it was a good movie or show. I watched it. Where did they fumble? They got a little bit over the top with the humor. Some of the jokes didn't land. They pushed in this Wanda stuff with the kids. They did. I thought they did an okay job of explaining it, but they didn't. And they had it on this road, and they were looking for this witch power, and they had some things. But I just think the execution in the end, kind of again, the ending kind of wasn't that great. So, and I think that's the thing is they had good intention, or not, I don't even know about intentions, but they had good ideas, and then they fumbled it. The other example was Moon Knight. I loved Moon Knight, and I was so excited for this show. And what we get, like 5 minutes of Moon Knight total in it, and they made Mark Spector into an idiot. He's I believe it. Yeah, the Mark Spector.
Remember the Power Ranger episode where they're like,
yeah,
it was the ugliest thing I ever seen in my life. I was like, what is this? Remember that hippo?
Yeah. Well, that's like an actual god, and I understood that, but they make him into a bumbling moron who works in a gift shop when in the comics he was like a Bruce Wayne character. And he had he had Stephen Grant, Stephen Grant was the goofy one. Then he had Mark Spector and Jake Lockley. And they were three different characters before they turned him into a multiple personality character. They were just three different characters. Is Stephen Grant was the rich guy. He was basically Bruce Wayne, but then he went out in his other two personas to investigate crimes and do things and kind of be able to maneuver like Batman would do. Batman in the early, they made Matches Malone was like his little character. He'd go out undercover to get information. And that's how it was. And I didn't mind that they turned him into because they did it in the comics where he had multiple personalities, but we didn't get Jake Jake till the end. And when they made him Stephen Grant, he was an idiot. He's a bumbling moron. He's fallen over himself. Silver Scarab had to save his life like 50 times. And again, what do? We need another character. We need to maybe introduce, and like Kevin Feige said, we're going to have more women than men sooner. So we need a female character. And she's in there and she's perfect. She's tough. She's better than him. She's doing all this stuff. And I don't mind that you get a character like that to come in and help and do things. But again, I'm going to lead him around through the whole movie or the whole show.
Oh, you mentioned WandaVision. Remember when the Mephisto controversy?
Yeah.
And the lady said, I don't even know who Mephisto is. They're just like when people say that's not an exaggeration. When we say they hire people that are completely clueless about what this stuff actually is, no, they are. Yeah. Or is it another? But that's another thing the MCU has had a problem with, even from like the Winter Soldier days. Like in Winter Soldier, I like the movie a lot. I really do. But it's kind of inconceivable that Iron Man wouldn't be in it when something this big is happening, though. And I think that's been a problem in their movies. Is like this is comic books too. People understand this happens in a lot of comic books. Like in a comic book, like let's say I'm reading a Batman comic and something big happens in Gotham. You would think like, why doesn't Superman show up? But technically, it's in a big universe, but it is in its own like isolated part of said universe, though. I think both approaches can work, but it's just one of those things where it's like, why didn't Doctor Strange somewhat be in the WandaVision show when she's doing this? He said he knew in his second movie. Well, that's where execution comes into play of it. Like you said, it's like, what are you doing?
He wasn't in the show, and Kevin Feige literally said we couldn't have a white man come in and tell her what to do. That was the only reason. And again, that's the execution. Mm-hmm. And now what I do in my head canon is every time something big happens and you don't get all the other heroes, in my mind, they're off doing something else that's just as important. Because if you start thinking about, like you said, everything's going on in, Winter Soldier. Why didn't any of the Avengers show up? Or why in Thor?
I remember him saying that. He said he didn't want him coming around and bossing her around, as she literally got bossed around in the other movie she's ever been in. Like, what?
Yeah.
Fucking cringe, man.
But the biggest to me, the execution fumble was She-Hulk, because She-Hulk breaking the fourth wall is a great idea. The burn run was really good. But the whole thing wasn't about doing that. It was about quote unquote owning the chuds, because they wanted to, we want to, mess with the toxic masculinity and screw up with the chuds and the haters. And we knew, that they were gonna was it Jessica Gao did it? Well, we knew 4 years ago they were just gonna react this way. We knew their online hate and blah blah blah. And and in the movie they had the Wrecking Crew, which weren't really the Wrecking Crew.
Mm.
And if you notice, the one guy, I believe it's Thunderball, in the comics is black, and they made him white in the show because they didn't want a woman beating up a black guy. That's the only reason they did that. And I mean, I've never heard confirmation on that, but that's totally my belief because they're in Jessica Gao's mind is you have, lineup of victims, and then the oppressors are the white man, and then everybody else is a victim, and the victims can't hate each other and they can't fight. And it just, I don't know. That was, to me, She-Hulk was one of the biggest fumbles. It was a terrible show. She was a terrible lawyer. I mean, they even said, well, we don't know how to write legal show. Well, hire a lawyer. They got this money. Just say, hey, could you consult on this movie? I mean, now I'm going to get mad. The stupidest thing was she goes to defend Leapfrog because his suit burned up. And he finds out he used jet fuel in his suit when he wasn't supposed to. And Matt Murdock sniffed it out. And he pointed it out.
Mm-hmm.
What does Jessica do? She blames Leapfrog. When you sue somebody for breach of contract, the first thing the lawyer does is read the contract and ask you, did you follow all these steps? Did you follow this to the letter? And if you didn't, they're going to say, you don't have a case. She didn't do that. Oh, yeah, I'm mad now because that show pissed me off.
Oh, no, I wanted to add to your point. I remember that being a quote where it was.
I'm raising my voice. Sorry.
The quote, I think when something like this, because I remember what happened. They basically hired women to write a comedy law show. And
it's supposed to be like Ally McBeal, supposedly.
But they didn't know how to write any of that stuff.
And when Ally McBeal had lawyers consulting.
Exactly.
Decent lawyers. Hire a damn lawyer.
And you know what's crazy is that when people say you can't write good guys, Law and Order has ran for like 30 seasons. All those shows people like NCIS, CSI. Guys, there's plenty of shows that have had 30, maybe 50 plus seasons doing it. The fact of the matter is, if you're going to have people do this stuff, you need to have some level of expertise in it. Don't these shows have like 12 writers? Where the writers are happening? We found out they have 12 writers. None of these people were could write a law show out of these 12 people. That is crazy that you have a law comedy show, but they can't write procedural law at all. That's crazy.
You could go to a law school and hire some law students, pay them each $500 an hour, a few hours a week, and they could give you better advice. I'm just like, in the show, they show the writer's room when She-Hulk breaks the fourth wall and goes into the Marvel Studios. And they show like guys in there. There was no one guy wrote on that show, but in the show they said there was men in there writing, and there weren't. It was a group of women, which they can do a fine job. I don't have a problem with that, but they do that in the show to make it look like, well, we had men involved, but they didn't, and they didn't have any lawyers involved. And it shows she, like when the magician guy was using magic, she coerced him illegally to sign a contract. He could literally go find a lawyer that advertises on a bus, on the side of a bus, go into court and say, yeah, I was coerced into signing this contract. And the judge would throw it out in 2 seconds.
Good night, Milk
Terrible lawyer. Joe. Oh, thank you. And I'm sorry. I'm getting mad, taking over the conversation because She-Hulk gets me angry.
No, it's She-Hulk. Another show
where I love the She-Hulk.
She was like, remember the first episode? She's yelling at Bruce, saying he can't control his anger. I do it better than you.
Yeah. Well, you got catcalled and he tried to kill himself. Oh, okay. Your boss job splained to you, and the two women he loved, one died and the other was, forced away because he's an insane monster who hurts people. Yeah, I get how your lives are the same. You got to put up with somebody commenting on your weight or whatever. And, he had to go and he was forced to kill people in an arena. Yeah, I guess I understand how your trauma is so much worse than his. And then she called him Smug Hulk and she mocked him. And then once she gets in trouble, where's Bruce? Where's Bruce? I need Bruce. Oh, my gosh. I'm sorry. I got to stop talking about you.
I stopped at the wedding episode.
I had to watch it all, and I hated it.
There was the wedding episode. I quit watching all these shows. It was bad. That wedding episode was actually terrible. I was like, wow, if I'm sitting here watching this, I might actually end up being gay. And turns out I'm not. So, I kept my.
I think I got through 10 minutes of it.
I watched the whole thing.
That's sad. I can't believe you watched that show. That's crazy.
I had the original Savage She-Hulk run. I had it all before. I read it all. I loved her in Avengers. I loved it when she joined the Fantastic Four. I watched her in the Hulk cartoon. That is one of my all-time favorite characters. And I was thinking, okay, they're going to do this. Let's see. And every episode, I would just be like, what did you do?
Oh, my God. The most annoying thing in that show, the second episode, remember? It was like that Wong and that other random chick. I forgot her name.
Madison with two
K's, something like that.
2 N's and not where you think or something.
I was like, what is this? Is this supposed to be funny? Then you have the twerking. Oh, the twerking.
The funny thing is, Madison was the best part of the show.
Oh, God.
I just, that show gets me so mad because there's, like, again, I said that they thought outside the box, breaking the fourth wall character. Haven't done that before in Marvel. Let's do it. Oh, but let's fumble it, make it into a complete pile of doggy poop, and just screw the pooch. It was so bad. And then when everyone complained about it, what'd you do? Well, you're just a racist. You're just a homophobe. You hate women. Oh, you're an incel. You just don't appreciate. This show wasn't for you, but then why aren't you watching it? I didn't write it for you, but it's your fault it failed. I mean, it's the same BS.
That's the problem too. The same thing happened with the Marvels. Well, men, you didn't go support the Marvels. Actually, they did. Women didn't go support it.
Like
men.
70% or something was men.
What's crazy is they like to shit on white dudes. White dudes were the biggest majority that watched the movie. Yeah. I don't even know how that even works in people's brains. You assume all the responsibility if it fails, but you also assume all the responsibility or none of it if it does well. What?
It drives me nuts.
The women said it's not for you. Good. I'm not watching. Hey, why did you make this movie fail? Oh, fuck me. Good Lord. All right. My bad point is one that I've explained here a lot of times, but I'll kind of modernize it in that context for a lot of you guys. It's this thing called main character syndrome. I know the actual terminology of it, but I think when I'm saying main character syndrome, this is what a lot of people fail to understand when it comes to the MCU. It started essentially with two characters a lot of people followed in phase one, Iron Man, Captain America, okay? And you follow their journey all the way up until essentially Endgame was over, right? Now, you do not have that as an anchor. So you don't have a main character to follow anymore. And people are going to ask, why is that important? I will just say this. If you are asking me why you need a main character for anything, you're probably so retarded. You probably don't even understand how logic works, okay? I'll explain it like this. Why were people so mad they killed off He-Man in Kevin Smith's fucking Netflix show? Explain. Because you follow these things for main characters, okay? Why are people generally mad when main characters get offed? Because you like following them. It's just something that they have to them. Why in TV shows, when you have a main character that gets recasted, does the show not do well? I think it's the thing that never happens in TV. A main character getting recast, or they quit, they bring in a replacement, and it works. I don't think it's ever actually worked, ever. Even in shows that I've personally enjoyed myself after the recasting, okay? They don't have a Michael Jordan, a Kobe Bryant. I don't like this guy, but I'll say LeBron James. They don't have a LeBron James, right? People were following because they liked RDJ's performance as Iron Man. They liked Chris Evans' performance as Steve Rogers. They liked the other guys, but it was those two that really anchored in what the dynamic was of the team. Now, another thing I'll bring up, it would be like, let's say this. When Kobe Bryant was alive, everyone, do you think Lakers tickets sold well? He was playing certain nights, or sold better when Kobe Bryant wasn't playing? I'll just answer that for you. They always sold better when Kobe was playing. The nights he said he wasn't playing, they didn't sell very well. You need a main character to lead your franchise. They have no main characters. And this thing of bench warmers that come up too. So you guys know sports. So that's why I'm using sports analogies. Bench warmers, okay? I actually don't agree. I don't think Thor is a bench warmer. The movies he was in sure kind of portrays him to be. Thor: Love and Thunder makes Thor look like a bench warmer. Doctor Strange 2 makes Doctor Strange look like a bench warmer. Black Panther 2, I didn't watch that because they didn't recast T'Challa. But what I heard is they killed him off. Okay? So
yeah,
So
they didn't have a good They didn't have a good anchor. Angela Bassett was great in the movie, but
Mhm.
and I like Shuri, but yeah, she was not the main character. She
And this
is
is a
not a main
problem.
character.
Yeah.
And this is a problem their movies are going to keep having until you figure this out. I'm not trying to be that guy, but I am that guy, and I love being that guy. Actually, you need main characters to follow. So if someone says, "Why are just X-Men getting all the movies?" Well, butt fuck retard. If they're the main characters, they should, and if they're bringing in the most money, they should. Captain America. If Captain America is the main character, he should get the most movies, though. If that's what's going to draw people in, you need to have that. Like, a lot of these characters, we now know this. Now, to be fair, I kind of knew this back in the day. I don't have a podcast, so I can't really say that because it's kind of like, oh, I knew it all along, but I didn't say it. I'll just break it down for people very simply. All the people you guys actually enjoyed, you liked them because they were next to better people that had what do kids call it these days? Aura farming. So like Iron Man and Captain America had enough aura around them that it extended to Hawkeye, Black Widow, Thor, Doctor Strange. Tomorrow Spider-Man's different. That's a different one. I'll say that for later. So like Black Panther, Doctor Strange, a lot of other characters, right? Guardians of the Galaxy, all these other characters aura farmed off of the other two that were there originally. So if you do not have a Michael Jordan, a character to follow, people are just going to feel like it's very directionless. Who is the main character of their movies? We asked this when we bring up, okay, Doomsday coming up. Who's the main character? We don't know. None of us know.
Dr. Doom,
We're just kind of putting them together. Like, who's their main character? You specifically need main characters. The whole franchise started off with a main character. It was Iron Man. And then Captain America came in. And he was like the second or first main character. However you want to debate him amongst yourself, doesn't matter. You need a main character. All these other people that we know now are bench warmers. Doctor Strange is a bench warmer. Thor is a bench warmer. He shouldn't be. He is their better writers. So I'll kind of exclude him. You need Black Panther. No Black Panther. Why? Oh, well, people on Twitter are going to get mad at us. Oh, my God. Holy shit, you're retarded. You can't have Black Panther because people on Twitter are going to be mad. Are you serious? Really?
Yeah, they should have. What they should have done is just make Michael B. Jordan, Black Panther, and somehow figure it out.
It's fucking
ridiculous. Comes in and
they squander showing Mr. Fantastic with John Krasinski. He could be your main. Mr. Fantastic could be a main character. Nah. He's too retarded to know that Wanda's OP. Fuck me, right?
Well, like your point, when you have a main character brings people in, people watched Ant-Man, even though those main characters weren't in the movie, because everybody was so invested in Cap and Iron Man. And I would say Thor, he was that third guy.
That's like in the exception. Movies. Yeah.
But then later on, they turned him into a
and that's dummy. All writing and directing. That's actually the character's fault.
Then they later on turned him into a buffoon. But so people were like, well, look, we have this core that we really like. And part of this core is this Ant-Man guy who hasn't been really into movies. Let's give him a try. And then it turns out, they got an actor people like.
Yeah.
And it was a fairly successful movie. And, but now they do these movies. And like you said, there's no main character. So how many people are excited to go see Shang-Chi? Unless they really know. I mean, the movie did okay financially. I mean, as far as box office, but I don't think it made a lot of money.
No, you're right.
But if you would have stuck with like Thor, Doctor Strange, and pulled the third triumvirate there,
Deadpool, Wolverine.
Yeah,
Deadpool. As much as I love to hate Deadpool or hate to love him, you can somewhat make that as a main supporting character that can work. But what really put the icing on the cake for Deadpool's movies was Wolverine. He's the main character. You would give him something. This is another thing that people don't get is that like all these other characters you saw before were essentially extensions of those other two. And people liked that they were around those other two. But them on their own is like, I believe Doctor Strange could be good on his own. I actually do believe that. Not the direction they took it in. But I believe Hulk could be good on his own. I do believe that. Are they going to do it good? Probably not. But just this, they need to figure out moving forward, who is your main character? And actually make movies based off that. People say, so will Spider-Man get more movies? Good Lord, fucking people are retarded in this world. Yes, Spider-Man brings the most fucking money. So obviously he should get the most movies. That's how this works. This is not a popularity contest, okay? This is about making money. Spider-Man's movies make a shitload of money. And people like Spider-Man. Yep. Spider-Man's your main character. That's why people, it's crazy. I have my issue with Tom on Spider-Man. I do. But he is the main, he is one of the main characters of the whole thing. You should make movies off of him. Why wouldn't a movie like Black Widow work? Well, Black Widow was kind of like I can see why her movie didn't do financially very well. It came out too late, like you already mentioned. I agree with that. But is she really that interesting on her own, or is she only interesting when we have the other guys around her? That's the thing. And I'm glad they made that movie so we can have these points that we can bring up now. Ant-Man. Is Ant-Man actually that interesting? Or is he only interesting because he was around these other guys? That's another point, too. But I did like Ant-Man 1. I think Ant-Man 1 was actually pretty good. So
yeah, I thought
I liked Ant-Man 1.
But if they would you just do an Ant-Man movie without the MCU, it could get some word of mouth to be okay, but it's not going to do much. Well, Black Widow, if they would have came out with her movie back in like phase 2, it would and had it more grounded, more espionage like, and it could have done a lot better. But I guess she was doing other movies, and there was a pregnancy in there, kind of delayed. And I don't think they really wanted to do a female-led movie until Wonder Woman did so much for DC, and then they're like, uh-oh. Because if you look at Marvel's history, for a long time, the comic books, they didn't have a lot of female-led comics. I mean, they had like Millie the Model, and they had Night Nurse. That was in the 60s. And then once the superhero boom happened, they had She-Hulk, Miss Marvel in the 70s and 80s. When
Ike Perlmutter said it? Ike Perlmutter said female superhero movies don't sell. To be fair, I know a lot of people don't think that guy's a lot of people think the guy's racist, and to be fair, he says some really weird things. But he's right though. Like outside of Captain Marvel and Wonder Woman, what financially lucrative female super movie is there? There isn't. Like all almost have failed, honestly.
Well, and to be honest, Captain Marvel was
all luck.
Was
where it was
playing off the Infinity War success.
Yeah.
And then you see the follow-up, it just bombed. And
remember what he said? Oh my God, 2 years ago. Remember when he said, "Why do I need a movie with an all-black cast?" That man is wilding. That guy is crazy. But keep in mind, I will say he was the only guy that challenged Kevin Feige, and Kevin Feige wanted him gone, so he was around a bunch of yes men, and now it all just went to the shit. Come on, you got a lot of that good stuff because Ike Perlmutter was there challenging him on these ideas. Now that Ike Perlmutter's gone, man, thank God we have Chex Notes. I don't even know, the Eternals, the Marvels. Oh, great. Glad we're cooking with those guys. Thank God we have these movies.
When you were talking about main characters, I was thinking about TV like sitcoms, and I watched like in a lot of them in the 80s and 90s. And you look at a show like Frasier, he was the lead. He had an outstanding supporting cast. I don't know if you ever watched the show, but it was cast well. Everybody was good actors. It was real funny, but he was the lead. The only show, I'm thinking back, that didn't really have a main one person, and even no matter how good the cast was around him, because Frasier had an outstanding cast, was Friends. They had 6 people, and you really couldn't point to one of them as the main character. That was a rare occurrence. Seinfeld was a major show. Everybody watched it. Everybody talked about it. Seinfeld was the main character, but he had 3 really good actors playing off of him, and people really enjoyed all of them. But if Seinfeld's not in that show, you're not going to watch it with the 3 characters that were around him. It's just not the same. So you're right. When you have that focus, like I said, with Frasier, you had an outstanding cast. Everyone's good actors. It was a well-written show, but everyone came there because they like Frasier from Cheers. But then they said, "Oh, wow, we like his brother Niles, and we like Daphne, and we like Roz as producer on his radio show. Oh, his dad's awesome. He's funny." Then there was like even the bigger group of characters that people he worked with and got to know, and they all became beloved characters. But none of that works without the main character, like you said, and that's what's hurting Marvel. I think you're right.
Another thing to bring up on the very last thing of my point is it feels super directionless without a main character because we're not really having someone to follow though. And then you have a bunch of these bench warmers trying to prove they're actually main characters, and they're kind of not though. And come on, not every character can be that, but it's just the way that they're doing it is like someone has to be the lead. There has to be a lead. And if there's no lead, then it's going to be like, well, who's because people were interested in Iron Man and Captain America's journey. They were based off the stories they told. I'll bring up an example. When they casted RDJ as Doctor Doom, they knew it would get people to watch because he's the draw. He's just the draw. That's what it is. And that got people going, wait a minute. At least even you think the actual idea of the casting is bad, which they could have picked someone else, it does. They do know it will bring it'll bring a good amount of people back to watching their movies, or at least just this one in particular. So I hope post Secret Wars, which might be 1 or 2 parts, who knows? That's the rumor. Who knows? they do find if X-Men are going to be your leads, okay, X-Men is your leads. Everyone else needs to kind of fall into place, because I don't know if Sam Wilson, Captain America, is going to be your lead. I don't know about that.
I think they were hoping, but you think about it too. Like everybody knew the Avengers. Who are the Avengers now? They made Thunderbolts the Avengers, and then in Brave New World, that General or President Ross said, "Well, I want you to recreate the Avengers." Well, who's he got? I mean, he's got Falcon. I mean, is Bucky? Bucky's with the Thunderbolts. I mean, who's his team? It's so going into Doomsday, you know who the Thunderbolt Avengers are, but you got Falcon's got a team supposedly coming. Who's on it? I mean, is it going to be Captain Marvel? Is it going to be?
Remember that the whole Young Avengers thing?
Yeah, when she's that. And now, if they ever get a chance to do it, they're going to be the old Avengers because they're getting old and old. They're almost as old as me, and I'm old. So
I'm glad you brought up the Thunderbolts point. That was the one thing I didn't like about Thunderbolts. That's the one thing. Well, two things. One, and keep in mind, it's not Thunderbolts' fault. It's not that director's fault that the MCU had no direction to that point. They basically went because I know they retweet. I know they're on social media. They knew fans were saying, "Who are the Avengers?" Then they make them miraculously the new Avengers, forcing these guys to be main characters. So keep in mind, I liked Thunderbolts. Are they really main characters to lead the entire thing? No. It's like I don't know about that.
Because I think oh my gosh, the woman who plays Yelena, her name just
Florence Pugh.
Florence Pugh is a great actress. I think she could be a main character if they handled her well. So you throw in that if you keep Thor, Doctor Strange, and somehow you elevate Yelena, that could have been a good basis. But she's just I don't know. Then they made her sad and my whole it's like that. Are you that interested in her personal story? I mean, yeah, you are to a point because I think they kind of made you feel a little bad for her, but they didn't have enough time to take her through like Captain America's journey. He went from becoming a hero to a hero out of time, trying to acclimate himself, dealing with Bucky. He had all these things that happened. Well, now she was in the Black Widow movie, then she's in Thunderbolts, and you kind of understand her family dynamic, but she didn't really change a lot. So she's not a main character right now. Mm-hmm. And they don't have time to build that up.
And these are characters. If keep in mind, if the direction and execution and intentions are all there, you can make it work. I would just say that's a big thing they got to figure out. And if that means that we get 5 X-Men movie guys, well, guys, that's how it works, though. I don't know what to explain to you. It's like the characters being the biggest draw and the heroes of the franchise should have the most stuff. This is not a popularity contest. That's the problem with the MCU too. Everyone was like, they did the Oprah Winfrey meme. You get a movie. No, you should prove if you deserve these things. I promoter is right. Everyone deserves a super movie. And keep in mind, DC knows that too. Black Adam had a movie. Did Black Adam really deserve a super movie? Probably not. But in our Oprah era of Hollywood, everyone gets everything because diversity is our strength, and that's how it works. But all right, so it's getting late here. Gonna have to wrap it up for these guys. So we'll start with the outros. We'll do Joe. Anything planned coming up you would like to let the audience know about?
No, just same old, same old. Still working on my channel, still trying to live life, and looking forward to Operation or Project Hail Mary. That's the next movie I'll probably see. Okay. That looks really good. And if you want a chance to see a pretty good independent film, I recommend going on to Tubi and looking up a show called First Time Caller. It's done pretty well. I watched it a couple weeks ago. I think I might have mentioned it here before. Mm-hmm. It's about a pretty good show. If you guys are interested to watch something, it's free on Tubi. Other than that, just still working out some scripts for my own channel. Got a few ideas, and hopefully that's coming along.
Hell yeah. Bob, what do you plan coming up that you would like to let the audience know about?
Tomorrow night at 9:30 Eastern, we've got Dad's Turn to Talk. Come and check it out. We're going to have some fun. We're going to be talking the movie Argo. And that'll be kind of cool to talk about that because it's probably more relevant now with current events than it was when it was first released. So looking forward to talking about that one.
All right. You got Dad's Turn to Talk this week. I can't come to that.
Yeah, that'll be tomorrow.
I'm excluded. He gatekeeps non-dads that are on the show. I'm gonna just change my name if I ever come on to be called Black Sun. There you go. Oh God, all the viewers are coming. I'm bringing a whole fan base when I go there, guys. Okay, so for me, as you guys know, I got games. I have podcasts and game streams coming up. Just got a lot of stuff coming up these next few weeks. I like doing this for. This was actually pretty fun. I really enjoyed it. I would say we could try to do this with DCU, but I can't get a good point. I don't have any. I tried to think about. I couldn't think of any good points for DCU at all. I tried. I was like, what do I actually like about this universe?
I could pull out a few.
If I really exaggerated a point, I could really do it. But I have probably 10 bad for maybe 1 good. But it's like, happens at this point. But yes, happy birthday to Joe.
Thanks, appreciate it. Thanks for all the birthday wishes, everybody.
Yeah. Next year we're gonna get him a girl to, have sex with him before he comes on the show. He'll be more happier. Don't worry, Joe. I know how to pull the ladies these days. I know.
I don't know.
Like.
I don't think you want any of those ladies.
Wait a minute. I have standards, Joe. Don't worry. They're not some floozy whores.
I heard that your last lady said inflate the 20 pounds in the back of her neck. So
Lord, man. See, I try to help you guys out. It's okay. But no, I have to get off because I got to go to the store for close to 30 minutes. So, yeah, okay. Thank you guys for checking out this episode of the MSK Show. And we'll see you guys later. Happy birthday, Joe. And